What if I told you that one of the most private human behaviors on Earth is also one of the oldest? Long before writing, before farming, before we even built permanent homes, scientists believe our ancestors were already doing something we rarely talk about today. So, when exactly did humans start masturbating? The answer takes us back further than you'd think. And it starts not with humans at all, but with our closest animal relatives. Here's the twist. Masturbation isn't unique to humans. Primatologists have observed the behavior in chimpanzees, bonobos, macaques, and even some non-primate species like dolphins and porcupines. Bonobos, our closest living relatives sharing about 98% of our DNA, are famously known for using sexual behavior, including self-stimulation, as a way to reduce social tension and bond within their groups. This matters because it tells us something huge. If our closest evolutionary cousins do it, there's a very strong chance this behavior existed in our shared ancestor millions of years ago, long before Homo sapiens ever walked the earth. Now you might be thinking, doesn't this waste reproductive effort? Wouldn't evolution select against it? Actually, researchers have proposed some fascinating theories for why this behavior may have persisted. One leading idea is called the sperm competition hypothesis. Some evolutionary biologists suggest that in early human and primate societies, males may have masturbated shortly before mating opportunities as a way to clear out older, lower-quality sperm, leaving only the freshest, most competitive sperm ready for reproduction. It sounds strange, but it's backed by comparative studies across several primate species. Other researchers point to stress relief and social bonding, similar to what we see in bonobos, and some suggest it may have simply been a pleasurable byproduct of how our nervous system evolved to reinforce reproductive behavior in general. So, does actual physical evidence exist? Surprisingly, yes. In 2005, archaeologists excavating the Hohlfels cave in Germany uncovered a polished siltstone object, carefully shaped and smoothed by hand. Radiocarbon dating placed it at roughly 28,000 years old, making it one of the oldest known human-made phallic objects ever discovered. While researchers debate its exact use, some suggest ceremonial or symbolic purposes. Many anthropologists consider sexual function a plausible explanation, given its deliberately smoothed, anatomically shaped design. This tells us something remarkable. Ice Age humans, the same people painting animals on cave walls in France and carving the earliest known flutes, were also crafting objects tied to sexuality, object making that required serious time, skill, and intention. Fast forward to the world's earliest written civilizations, and the topic doesn't just appear. It takes center stage in mythology. In ancient Egypt, one of the oldest religious texts in human history, the Pyramid Texts, described the creator god Atum, bringing the entire universe into existence through masturbation. According to the myth, Atum, alone in the primordial waters, created the first gods Shu and Tefnut through this act. This wasn't hidden or shameful in Egyptian religion. It was a sacred origin story, carved into royal tombs and repeated for centuries. Ancient Mesopotamian texts and Sumerian hymns also reference sexuality tied to fertility and creation, reflecting a broader ancient worldview where sexual acts were often connected to cosmic and agricultural fertility, not something to be hidden away. This is a big contrast to how many cultures view the topic today, and it reveals just how differently early societies framed human sexuality, as sacred, symbolic, even essential to explaining how the universe itself began. So if it was normalized, even sacred in early religions, when did it become taboo? Historians point to a gradual cultural shift, especially influenced later by certain religious and medical movements across different eras, which began framing the behavior as something to control or avoid. But that's a story from thousands of years after the Hohlfels carving and the Egyptian myths, meaning the taboo we associate with this topic today is actually a relatively recent chapter in a very, very long human history. So let's rewind the timeline one more time. Long before pyramids, before written language, before agriculture, this behavior likely existed among our primate ancestors, millions of years before modern humans evolved. By the Ice Age, humans were shaping tools connected to it with real craftsmanship. And by the time civilizations like Egypt were writing their sacred texts, it wasn't hidden. It was mythologized as the very act that created the universe. It's a strange reminder that some of the most private parts of being human are actually some of the oldest threads connecting us to our evolutionary past. If you found this as fascinating as I did, hit subscribe, because next time we're diving into another ancient mystery hiding in plain sight.